What up, everybody? So, I wanted to talk about this thing I read one time, and I've really found it to be a really great phrase. It's from Tim Ferriss, and I'll talk about it in just a second, but I kind of wanted to tell you a little bit how it's impacted me and why it's resurfaced, generally speaking, for me and what I'm doing. Because I think it's a very, very important and powerful way to think or a question that you ask yourself. So, getting right to it, Tim Ferriss said, "What would it look like if it was easy?" Now, I want to explore this a little bit because I have a couple ways of regurgitating this question because I think it's just so helpful. What I've found, to be blunt about it, is what this has given me is the answers before the questions. So let's say, yeah, I'll jump ahead here. So my notes have, so a good way to put this is, if you were to say wanting to do something, you start with, let's say you are like, okay, how do I travel with everything I need in one bag? And, or if you were like, if I wanted to be a minimalist, to have everything like be in one bag or one small, like everything fit in my car. Like, what do I have to do? What are the things that I need? And then you think, okay, well, what am I gonna do? And blah 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 blah. And you go through all this thing. This is how I operate in a lot of ways. That's how I think a lot of people do, which is totally normal. It's kind of like the easy route. Like, you just go through the questions, go, okay, how do I do this thing? How? Why? What are, like, all this. But if we take this, what would this look like phrase, it automatically gives you all the answers that you didn't even know you needed. So instead of saying, how do I travel with one bag? You ask, what would it look like to travel with one bag? And you kind of get all of the answers right away. So immediately you think, well, what would it look like? You would have a lot less stuff. You would be lighter, it would be freer. How would you do that? Like, things would probably be cut in half. Like, maybe you'd have a smaller toothbrush. Maybe you would have, you would be wearing clothes more often than you would at home, like a t-shirt many times. And what else? Maybe you'd have to wash your underwear in the sink some days or something, right? You once you get this instant understanding of how things look, if so, how, what would it look like if it really kind of, it spells it out there for you. It's just everything. So I found, and just an example here, I don't know if you can see, I'll try to move the light, but over there in the closet, I wanted to minimize my camera gear. I've been working really hard on minimizing it. And I thought to myself, what would it look like if my camera gear was all in this clean little roller and nothing else, right? So I'm still working on it, obviously, but this is what it looks like. It's awesome. And I have all my lenses, and I actually thought I was going to sell a lens. I put it back to see if I still like it. I think I still like it, which is fine because I got rid of so many other things that it's small, you know. So I have 4 lenses, some, like, they're modular things. Actually, you know, I can show you. I know some of you guys can appreciate this because I like it. So as far as camera gear goes, all right, cool. So let me boost the ISO. So I have like a 90 millimeter memory cards. I got lav mics under there. I got a 35 and a 55, and then the 1635. And there's a, on the lens now is the 20 millimeter. My favorite lens is on it right now. And then charging cables. This is just like a case thing. Padcaster for like script thing. It's like a monitor you read. My ZV-1, which Still not sure if I'm gonna sell or not because I keep using it. I keep pulling it out of the box that I was selling it. So whatever. Balance car, everything is like there. It's tight. There's nothing in there. And then there's cables in this Peak Design thing here. So what that looks like, and then I have, I'm sorry if you can't hear me. Then I have my gear, my Peter McKinnon sling bag there, and then above that is the bag, and then just some miscellaneous. So it's super like tight. All right, so what I've been thinking about and some of the questions I've been asking with this is what would it look like to have literally everything on a cart, or at least nearly all of my camera gear in a small thing on a cart, or be able to fit it so the mic can come off, I can fit it under there, the camera, the tripod can go on the whatever. So I worked backwards to make this happen, and I found a different way to organize. I got rid of some things like the flag and some cards and some prop thingies. I got rid of a lot so that this could happen. And I didn't have to think about it. It was a really easy process. So with the editing, I have been working on this idea, which I'll put a video up tomorrow on it. I'll film it right after this. But I asked myself, what would it look like if this was even more streamlined? And then what would it look like if it was more streamlined, but better? And I got the answers right away, just in my head. I was like, oh, obviously, right? So, and then like basically one of the things was like making it, the process, batching it, so on. So what would it look like if I batched the videos? Like I filmed more than one at a time, which I did. So I'm batching all the camera gear stuff together. So I did some photography for the Carry Chronicles Instagram, and I haven't unloaded it yet. I usually would have unloaded it, edited it, transferred it, whatever, posted, and then filmed a video, edit the video real quick, and then post it. Now I'm just doing all the camera. So I've shot, photo, done this, whatever. And it's like, oh, that's what it would look like. You go, oh, that's how it works. Then, and I have a few other questions, but I can skip over it because I think I'm beating a dead horse here. But the question goes back to this, the one that I remember the most is what would it look like if it's easy, which can be replaced with things that you want to do? What would it look like to be a millionaire, for example? And I don't mean like, how would your lifestyle be per se? It'd be like, if you were earning that money, what would that look like? It'd probably be some pretty hard work. Your value and your thinking of how things are would probably have to be next level. You'd have to really consider your personal growth or your mindset. You have to be very self-aware. I can't imagine somebody who's unaware of themselves, so somebody doing a lot of drugs or have addictions of sorts, to be very successful. It doesn't really make sense. So again, it goes back to this idea that you know all the answers inherently. And I like this idea of a silver bullet. I think nothing really, it has a silver bullet, but this comes really close in my opinion. So maybe that's some food for thought for you guys, and it can help you out somehow. But for me, I love it. It really answers so many things before I even have to question it. And making my life more productive and easier is what I want. I hope this helps you. Till next time, cheers.